And we are starting the mission here with CU Underwater from Cedarville University in Ohio, coming all the way to the Grand Canyon State to compete here in the National Underwater Robotics Challenge. The feed you're going to see from them as well as coming through their data line. Now, this is a unique ROV compared to the other competitors today. Their control system, rather than having power be transmitted over their tether, they have onboard power sources, meaning that they have 4 separate circuits that control the different aspects of their ROV, and the only things being passed through that tether are the communication signals. Those communication signals are fairly simple. Those are just controller inputs. Move forward, backward, that sort of thing. The onboard computer on the ROV will actually process those. Looks like the ROV is moving in the water a little. They're doing some debugging on their controller end, it appears, to make sure that the live feed from the cameras is working. These ROVs have had the chance to do a little bit of practice throughout the competition weekend, but they haven't had full access to the entire pool throughout the weekend, meaning a lot of these missions are going to be new to the ROVs as well. Looks like the ROV is navigating its way through the waters, possibly towards the tunnel. It's looking like our camera streams are a little frozen. The driver may be having some difficulties with that. Looks like they are currently flying blind a little, but we have a live feed from them here. Now they can see the bottom of the pool. They have multiple different cameras on their unit so that they can see different angles, different end effectors. Looks like the ROV is surfacing so they can continue the different troubleshooting they're doing. Looks like they have a rescue penalty there applied to their score as well. We're breaking for a moment as they make a few repairs, trying to troubleshoot some of the challenges with their ROV. This is a challenging event because not only do the ROVs have to complete a number of complex tasks, they also have to accomplish all of those while being submerged in the water. As you know, dropping your phone in water can prove to be a death sentence for the device. So these teams have had to go to the effort of waterproofing many of their electronics. Not only that, but ensuring that their ROV is properly buoyant in the water. That could involve adding things like the pool noodles you see on screen for extra flotation, or adding weights. The most creative one I've seen so far this weekend is a water bottle full of rocks. Of course, anything will work there. Now, we're going to make sure that all of the weights are safe and do not end up harming the pool or dropping rocks all over the place. But ballasts can be anything. I've even seen a speed vise be used as a ballast on a robot, not an underwater robot. Troubleshooting is continuing here as the team looks at the condition of the robot. You'll also notice the netting on the ROV, trying to keep out any unwanted foreign objects. In the aircraft industry, we'll call that foreign object debris, FOD. And the ROV has been submerged yet again. They can see what they are doing navigating across the pool. Looks like the ROV is moving, trying to estimate distance. What they have on the robot to sense the distance is a ultrasonic sensor. Now, you'll see ultrasonics getting used on other underwater devices as well. How they are processing that information is by carefully panning it across the area, and then when they get a signal that looks like a dip in the readings, they will be able to use that as their distance measurement. The structure of their ROV, you might have noticed when they pulled it out of the water, or as we see underwater shots of it, is a cube. That was chosen so that they had an easily modifiable robot design, meaning they could mount and remount electronics or different devices, different servo motors onto the frame as a way to rapidly prototype. Looks like they grabbed a fish. Oh, the fish went flying. See if it is still securely within their ROV. See a fish from their point of view. Oh, maybe falling through their robot. We'll find out here pretty shortly. One of their other strategies for success that they used is by sealing in their servo motors. Taking a look at the robot frame itself, many times you'll notice on a traditional ROV that the electronics, including the motors themselves, are contained within a cylinder. Cylinders being one of the strongest shapes for pressure vessels, which those chambers effectively are. In this case, they have chosen to waterproof individually the servos on their robot using silicone grease and a few other different experiments they've gone through to see what works best while maintaining the functionality of the ROV itself. Looks like we have a fish rescued. Their robot's name is Life Jacket, and they are functioning as a life jacket of sorts for the fish, helping carry them possibly to safety if they are irradiated fish. Looks like they may be making a run towards the tunnel, possibly using their temperature probe as well. That orange device you see at the bottom of the pool is the volcanic vent. It's part of the geothermal energy system present here in the cavern. Our story takes place here. The cavern, in this case, is located on the coast, rather in a bay in Alaska. Alaska is located in the famous Ring of Fire surrounding the Pacific Ocean. It's an especially active geothermal area where you'll see lots of earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, all those exciting things. Alaska being part of it, meaning that geothermal energy can be harvested from that area. Additionally, operating a nuclear power facility there means it's in a remote area, so should something disastrous happen, there will be less impact to human life and wildlife. 10 minutes remaining in their mission time. Looks like the ROV may be caught up a little bit on the bottom of the pool. Once again, your driver may not be able to see the view that you are seeing now on the stream. They're carefully navigating their way back home. Another feature of the cube structure of the robot was making it a little bit easier to navigate the waters themselves. Having a flat bottom means that they will be able to align with stuff like the reactor or the bottom of the pool in terms of placing those fuel rods in the case. Looks like the ROV taking a bit of a rest there underwater as they diagnose what is going on. Maybe it is not quite performing up to their expectations. Could also be all part of the plan. Now, there is a time bonus that you've heard me talk about throughout the course of this evening. Now, that will only apply if the ROV is returned back to the surface. They're doing a systems check. You just saw that actuator move through the water. The robot has come back to life, moving across the bottom of the pool. So we see them taking aim at their next challenge. Looking at the distance flag there. Trying to see what they can do from their current position as well. Looking at the ROV, they're looking how much they can navigate themselves back towards the surface as we see one corner of the ROV lifting up towards the surface of the pool. It's looking like there might be a slight weight balance issue. Now, a lot of these ROVs that you've seen so far may be made of PVC pipes. The danger there can be that those PVC pipes can flood. Now, that is not the case with this specific ROV. So it'll be interesting to debrief with the team and see what some of their challenges were during this mission as well. But they are successfully seem to be returning towards the surface. They just need to make it close enough into that zone where the human player can pick them up out of the water. They're looking ever so carefully, almost towards that sign. You can see it in their viewfinder there. And they are rescued out of the depths. We'll see if they plan on continuing to perform any missions here or take the time bonus. We'll let you know. Looks like they're trying to diagnose some of the issues, looking at removing some of those weight components on their ROV to hopefully get a better balance there in the pool is what it appears to be. That's another added challenge with NURC here and with any underwater event, is that getting the weight balance correct is crucial. The robot could be tilting to one side and unable to be controlled due to its orientation as well. CU Underwater looks like they have a score of 46 points so far. Still plenty of time left to perform mission objectives. Just like they are changing out some of the attachments on their ROV. We'll have to catch up with them and see what some of their strategies were to enable further success throughout this mission. Continuing, we see them placing the explosive device there onto their ROV. Now you'll see the green light on that device, meaning it's not armed yet. The 2-minute countdown has not begun. Once the device starts flashing red, that means there's a 2-minute timer before you will see the detonation. The teams can choose when they arm that device, trying to arm it in the most optimal way. Looks like they're trying to attach it in part of their ROV that will hold it securely until it reaches its final destination. Looks like they also have the communications line attached to their ROV, trying to do both at the same time, possibly. They also have placed in their articulating arm that you see on the right camera view. They have 4 different joints on there, allowing for 4 degrees of freedom, helping control the angle of that gripper that was designed specifically for the nuclear fuel rod mission, considering the unique geometry that that requires. The ROV is taking the communications line deep to the bottom of the pool here, it appears. Heading towards the tunnel entrance. Looks like it's taking a little bit of a rest there in the pool. Now, remember, they may have that detonation device on board, so there is a time limit there on them. I can't get a good look here on the screen to see if that's been activated or not. It's very possible they opted to not go for that mission. They're looking to bring the comm line across the pool floor. We will, of course, have a final score for the CU Underwater after the mission timer is complete, once we have completed scoring. I cannot provide an update here of the breakdown yet. Looks like they may be returning back to home base, trying to not incur any time penalties. Possibly recalibrating their strategy, or instead opting to end the mission while they have a time bonus. Only time will tell. It's looking like they will opt to end their mission. As soon as that's declared, I will let you all know. They are winding up their tether now. You can see they have a unique slip ring system there to help keep the tether organized. We saw lots of ROVs being tangled up in the tether throughout the course of this competition. It's been quite the challenge throughout. And it looks like the mission timer has come to an end. Still tabulating final scores. Like I said, you may see those change before we have a final score. Once we know that the score has been finalized, that will be reported to the live streaming audience. Once again, you're watching the National Underwater Robotics Challenge broadcast here from the Grand Canyon State in sunny, or formerly sunny, Arizona. Here at the Arizona State University Polytechnic campus. And it looks like we're done with the mission timer. We're going to clean things up, clean up the pool here, and we will have an interview.
Thank you very much. We're now here with Ben from CU Underwater. Great job on the run, Ben. First question for you. What was your team's strategy going into it?
Yeah, so our strategy was definitely being revised on the fly a lot, depending on how our robot was behaving. And right before we went in, we realized we couldn't close our hand. So we lost one of our servos. And so our strategy was, first we had our net on, so we were going for the fish. And we got a fish, which is great. That's really good. And then our next strategy was to try and do the stuff in the tunnel, like delivering the demolition device and delivering the air hose. But since we couldn't close our hand, we were going to avoid the reactor rods. So that was basically, we're going to stay to one half of the pool and try and do it that way. Got it.
And it seems like your team had to pivot a little bit because of some of the tasks that you weren't able to complete, but you were able to attempt, the fish retrieval as you mentioned.
Yeah, so we did come back and we tried to go out with the demolition device and the air hose, but we ended up removing the demolition device because we didn't have enough time and we knew we'd run out of time. And then the air hose, we were attempting to get there, but our robot communication was unreliable, so we decided to turn back for the sake of time and avoiding being penalized for that.
Indeed, and you were able to get back to the surface right before that time limit reached. Now, on the stream that we heard Grace mention a couple of the unique features from your ROV life jacket, as you've named it. Would you like to explain a little bit we were seeing like some recognition features on the camera, as well as some ultrasonic measuring.
Yeah, so the cameras are actually really nice. Most people are using an analog camera feed, and those are Ethernet security cameras, and they come with a lot of onboard software, so that image recognition, they just came like that. And they have really nice infrared night vision, so a lot of the robots you're seeing have lights shining, and ours also have lights shining, but they're not visible to the human eye. So that's another cool feature where we do have colored night vision. And the cameras are actually bomb-proof. According to the website that we bought them from, so that's interesting. And yeah, definitely another big difference between ours and others is the shape of the frame, mostly just because we're not around everyone else. We're way up in Ohio designing this thing, and we actually came to the conclusion that we needed to have batteries on board our robot, and that was actually a really interesting false assumption. So everyone else here is running their power down the tether line, but just since we were so separated in the design process, we came up with that different solution. And we did have effective driving, but you have a lot more mass on board your robot and a lot more heat too. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what separated ideas come together and look different. Yeah.
No, it was great for us to see it, and great to see the audience as well be exposed to some of the different concepts that our teams have used, especially with your team today as well. So Ben, thanks. Appreciate your time stopping by, and we'll send it back to the pool deck in preparation for the next run. Thank you.